Alright, you should probably know that I'm not super nostalgically attached to the Ghostbusters franchise. I know a few of you are gonna be like, what? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just not. I've seen the first movie like once, and it was like 5 years ago. I saw the 2016 one, I reviewed it when it came out. And it's funny, after I reviewed it, I had a friend who wanted to go see it. So we went to go see it, and I actually ended up having a blast with it because I wasn't in review mode. I knew what I was in for, so I could just sit back and relax and enjoy a stupid movie. It was actually a pretty interesting experience. But alright, now let's talk about this new one. Ghostbusters Afterlife. So Ghostbusters Afterlife is the third movie in, I guess, what is now the Ghostbusters trilogy. Yeah, completely ignoring the 2016 movie. We have this family that is related to one of the original Ghostbusters. They move into his old house in Summerville, Oklahoma, this small-ass town. And then ghostly things start happening. There's seismic activity going on when there really shouldn't be. This town is not on a tectonic plate or anything. They actually explained that in the movie, which I appreciated. And now we have our new Ghostbusters movie. Ghostbusters! And I've been hearing mixed things about this one. Some people really enjoy it, others not so much. I actually had a pretty good time with it. There are some problems this movie had, oh yeah, for sure. But it's weird, with all the problems I saw in this movie, I still walked out going, that was a surprisingly good time. Maybe it's because of my experience with the 2016 movie, I don't know. The main character in this movie is Phoebe, played by McKenna Grace, who I actually remember from that movie Gifted, which I actually reviewed when it came out. She was really good in this movie. Her character is this kind of prodigy kid. She's really good at science, and therefore not that sociable, which is always the kind of character that I can root for. Yeah, I really liked her character in this movie. Her brother Trevor, on the other hand, played by Finn Wolfhard, we all know him. It's not that I didn't like his character in this movie, it's that he doesn't really do much. He doesn't really add much to the plot, at least the main plot. In fact, his whole subplot that he has in this movie, I felt was just kind of add-on. He gets this girlfriend, and I was like, what does this have to do with anything? I mean, eventually it does tie into the main plot, but even then, I still felt like they were add-on, because it felt like Phoebe was doing most of the work. And then her friend in this movie, she ends up making, his name is Podcast, because he has a podcast. And this kid, he had his moments. Like, there was one joke he had, I actually laughed out loud, which was kind of funny, because I think I was the only one who laughed out loud in the theater at that joke. That's never happened before. But then there were moments he had where I was like, alright, this kid is getting annoying. The best way I can describe this character is actually, it's gonna be pretty funny. He was like Brian Tyree Henry's character from Godzilla vs. Kong meets Mike's Super Short Show. If any of you remember what that is, that's a deep cut. But that's what this kid reminded me of. Take that how you will. The mom in this movie, though, played by Carrie Coon, Proxima Midnight from Avengers, I didn't like her, because she was kind of a bitch. She didn't care to relate to her daughter at all, because she's like, oh yeah, my daughter's some kind of super genius, but I wish she would get into trouble. I was like, what is wrong with you? I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing with me, but I would prefer the kind of mother who actually wants to connect with her daughter, instead of being like, oh yeah, my daughter's a weirdo. Yeah, mother of the year right here. She gets paired up with the sexiest man alive, Paul Rudd, and I felt absolutely no chemistry between the two. But aside from that, I actually really liked Paul Rudd in this movie, because he's Paul Rudd. Instantly right there, he's pretty damn likable. He actually plays the teacher of the school that the kids end up going to, and he's really into what's going on around here. He's a seismologist. He ends up really getting along with Phoebe. In fact, that was a really good scene in this movie where they meet and they get along over what's happening in this town. That was really good. That's some really good chemistry right there. But I'll admit, as the movie was going on, I was kind of bored in the first half, because it's all the setup, and I get it, you know, we're meeting the characters, we're getting situated in this town, but you know, I was like, alright, can we get to the Ghostbusters-ish stuff already? And the Ghostbusters-ish stuff doesn't really start happening until about an hour in. Well, actually, that's not true. There are some cool things leading up to that point, but really, starting at the hour mark, that's when this movie really picked up for me. And then for the rest of the movie, I was pretty into it, because the cool Ghostbusters-ish stuff started happening, and I was entertained. What can I say? The concept of Ghostbusters is really interesting, because it is a clashing of genres. Yeah, it is mostly comedy, but there are action horror elements in there. You know, it dealing with ghosts and all. I like that though. And yeah, I heard that there was a lot of fan service in this movie to the original Ghostbusters. And yeah, there are some things I noticed where I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely a throwback to the original. Like the Stay Puft Marshmallows thing. They're watching old Ghostbusters videos on YouTube where you see the original crew. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, the late Harold Ramis, rest in peace. But maybe it's because I'm not super nostalgically attached to the original Ghostbusters that the fan service in this movie didn't really bother me that much. I mean, for God's sakes, it's a continuation of that franchise. So fan service is allowed in this movie, but you know, just as long as it doesn't become the main point of this movie. And in my opinion, I didn't feel it did. I mean, I saw this movie with a friend of mine who's a super Ghostbusters fan, and he said the movie was a really good homage to the original. He liked all the throwbacks, so there that is. I also really liked the music in this movie. The score was done by Rob Simonson, and even during the opening logos, you hear some score, I was like, this is really good music. It uses theremin, which Dude, I love me some good theremin. So serious props to that. And of course that main Ghostbusters song. It's actually never used in this movie at all. I never heard it at any point during this entire movie until the end, which almost bummed me out, but the good thing is that the music throughout the movie was really good. So I didn't really miss that Ghostbusters song. That's something. So in the end, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I enjoyed it despite all its flaws. Maybe it's just me being nice again, I don't know. I like the main character Phoebe and I like Paul Rudd. All the other characters I thought were just The movie doesn't really pick up until about an hour in, but then at that point on, it gets really entertaining. The humor in this movie is funny-ish. I laughed out loud at a couple of jokes. For the rest of them, I was like, I guess it just helps if you know what kind of movie you're in for. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, you'll probably enjoy this movie. Then again, you might not. I don't know. But I enjoyed the adventure along with the really good music. For Ghostbusters Afterlife, I will say, go see this movie while it's in theaters. Although I'll add in at matinee price. I don't know if I've ever done that before, but I guess there's a first time for everything. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's back to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond for me. Back to the Sinnoh region, baby! Peace!